Hello to everybody. So, as I was introduced, I am Maksim Iavich. I am working at Caucasus University in Georgia, where I am professor and director of Cybersecurity Center. Also, I represent Scientific Cybersecurity Association. So, today, I want to talk to you about post-quantum cryptography. I want to offer to you absolutely the new approach of creating post-quantum digital signature schemes. Also, one thing what I want to talk to you about today, as we know, NIST has accepted the standards for post-quantum cryptography, and one of them is so-called Crystal Kyber, and there was very serious article, very interesting article, that it was broken. This article was published last year, and the scientists are debating was really the NIST standard broken or not. And today, together, we will make the analysis if this system was really broken or it's just some kind of marketing. So first of all, I want to introduce to you some basics of cryptography for you to follow me afterwards. I am presenting from my laptop, so I have to press enters, so it's better for me to stand here. So usually in cryptography we have two heroes, Alice and Bob, and somehow they must to send the encrypted message. So first of all, they generate the key. Somehow they exchange this key. We will talk more about how they do it. And afterwards, both of them have the key. And Alice wants to send some message to Bob. She needs to encrypt it to get the cipher. Here is cipher, it's C. C is our cipher. So she encrypts the message using this key. And afterwards, Bob gets this cipher and he decrypts it using the same key. So he must get his message back. And this is what really must happen. After decrypting the encrypted message, we must get our message back. And here is our Mr. Hacker, who is eavesdropping the cipher, and he mustn't understand anything about this cipher, yes? He mustn't get the message. We have symmetric cryptography and asymmetric cryptography. In symmetric cryptography, there is only one key, so the encryption and decryption is being implemented by the same key. And in asymmetric cryptography, we have different keys. Let's talk very quickly about it. So, in asymmetric encryption, usually as a standard, we use AES. It's a wonderful encryption scheme, so there is no clue to use anything else. So here, the length of the block is 128 bits, and the key length is beginning from 128, it's minimum requirement for security, and it can be up to 256. I will tell you already that for post-quantum epoch, we will need just to double the key size. So in post-quantum epoch, our symmetric cryptography will still be secure. The only thing, we have to double the key size. Here how it looks. We get the message, encrypting it, and afterwards the ciphertext, the decrypting it, and getting the message back. So one very important notions in cryptography, hash function, yes? What is hash function? It is one-way function which takes on the input some message of arbitrary length, and it outputs the hashed value of the concrete length. So as the input, it takes arbitrary length message and outputs the message, the hashed value of the concrete size. So the question is how to break the hash function. The best approach, of course, is brute force. So to try all the cases, yes? And what does it mean for the hash function? It to be secure. Hash function must be collision resistant. What is collision resistance? Yes, collision resistance is that we cannot find two different messages which hash value is the same. So we cannot find two x's, x and x1, which are different, and their hashed values will be the same. So, as I told you, the interesting attack, yes, the intuitive attack on hash function would be the brute force. So, can we do better? Yes, we can. And here is very interesting attack, so-called birthday paradox. Of course, it's not paradox, it just sounds strangely. I will now explain it to you. It has, of course, the mathematical proofs and so on. So, if there are 23 people in the room with a probability of 50%, two of them will have the birthday at the same day. When I studied it, I was really surprised how it works like this. So in the groups where I had more than 23 students, I was asking them if they had the birthday, and mostly in all the groups, there were two people who had the birthday at the same day. So as you can see, when we have 23 people, the probability of collision, the probability of having the birthday at the same day is 50%. But when we go up to 60 or 55, 56 people in the same room, the probability is already going to be close to 100. So, always in my practice, when I was lecturing in the groups where there were more than 50 people, always there were two people which had the birthday on the same day. Okay, hash functions which are used which exist are MD5. It was developed in 1991. It had 128-bit output length, so it was broken in 2004. The collision was found. SHA-1 was introduced in 1995, and it had 116-bit length, output length. It was also broken, and SHA-2 has 256 output lengths, and you can use it today in practice. It's still the secure hash function, the same in the case of quantum computers. We will have only the double the output length. So there should be SHA-512, and that's it. Also exists SHA-3. It's also the NIST standard. It doesn't have anything mutual with SHA-2, only the name. But it is NIST standard. It is not almost used today, only very rarely. But if SHA-2 is broken, we can use SHA-3. And it uses absolutely different approach, absolutely different methodology than SHA-2 has. So if SHA-2 is broken, SHA-3 can be used. One more very interesting hash function family which can be used in practice is Blake2. Blake2 family of the hash functions. They are not NIST standards, but when NIST had the competition, Blake was in the last round of the competition together with SHA-3, and I will tell you that Blake was better. It was more secure, it was more efficient. The question is why they chose SHA-3. Because Blake uses the same methodology as SHA-2. So if SHA-2 is broken one day, Blake would also be broken. So because of it, they took SHA-3, which used absolutely different methodology. For 60-bit CPUs, we use Blake2B, and for 32-bit CPUs, we use Blake2S. This function still is used in different products, despite of the fact that it's not the standard, but it's very good. So, what about key distribution? How can we exchange the key? In symmetric cryptography, okay, we can just take the key, the paper where is written the key, and bring it to another guy and give to them. Or we need some trusted courier, yes, to make him to bring the key. Of course, it's very inefficient in practice. So what to do? classical symmetric cryptography doesn't offer the solution for this problem. So there were two guys, Diffie and Hellman, who created the new direction, so-called asymmetric cryptography, and they made the key distribution algorithm. It's a genius algorithm. When I saw it the first time, I was really very motivated, very surprised how they made up such a genius scheme. So I will explain very quickly how to use it. But before, what is the idea of asymmetric cryptography? The idea is that there are the problems, that it is easy to implement them, but it's very complicated to convert. And the whole idea is based on it. So let's talk about key exchange, how Diffie-Hellman key exchange protocol works. The idea is that Bob is talking to Alice, and hacker is listening to them. He is eavesdropping. Finally, Bob and Alice both have the key, and hacker doesn't have anything. So he listens, but doesn't get a key. How it works? It's based on discrete logarithm problem. So here, Bob takes some random x number, only he knows this number. He has a group generator, it's not very important, what is it now? And he takes g to the power of x. So it is very easy to take the number and to take it into the power. But when you have g to the x and you have g, it's very complicated to get x from here. So to solve so-called discrete logarithm problem. So now Bob has g to the x, he has x, he sends h1, so g to the x, to Alice. The hacker sees all this. Alice generates some random number y. She takes g to the y and gets h2. So now she has h1 because she got it from Mr. Bob. She has her y, and she sends h2, g to the y, to Bob. Now Bob has h2, he has x, he takes it, h2 to the power of x, and gets g to the power y and x. Alice has h1, she takes it into the power of y, and gets g to the xy. So they have the both values, but hacker doesn't have any clue about the key. Why? Because from h1 he cannot get x, and from h2 he cannot get y. So how public key encryption works? Alice generates two keys, public key and secret key. The public key she uploads somewhere to the public repository. Bob takes this public key. Now he can encrypt the message using this public key and get the cipher. He sends the cipher to Alice, and only Alice can decrypt it because she has the private key. So everybody have a public key, so everybody can encrypt the message, but to decrypt the message can only the person who has the secret key. The only thing, so in asymmetric cryptography, we have the standard, so-called RSA encryption. How it works? So it's based on factorization. It's very easy to take two numbers and to multiply them. It's very easy to take two prime numbers, P and Q, and to calculate their multiplication. But having n, it's very complicated to get these two prime numbers. So it's very complicated to factor these two numbers. So from n to get P and Q. And phi of n, guys, is the number of invertible elements in the group. So we choose two numbers, E and D. These numbers are like, when we multiply E on D, we must get 1 mod phi n. So I will now quickly show you how RSA encryption works. Our public key is n and e. I want to remind you that n is p multiplied by q, and we cannot get them because of factorization problem. And secret key is d. Alice, to encrypt the message, she just takes the message, it takes it to the power of E. Afterwards, she sends message to Bob to decrypt the message. Bob takes it to the power of D and gets his message back. So, RSA is based on factorization problem. You must know that you shouldn't use plain RSA. There are special schemes, special requirements how we use RSA, and plain RSA cannot be used in practice. It is not secure. Guys, all good. Here is our cryptography, but quantum computers are coming. So I began to work on this issue, I think in 2013 or 14, when I saw the paper that Google signed the contract with D-Wave, and D-Wave is a company which produces quantum CPUs, and they began to work together on creating the quantum computers. And that time I saw that yes, quantum computers are coming. So what can do quantum computers? Guys, they can break all asymmetric cryptography which exists in practice. They can break RSA, they can break Diffie-Hellman. By the way, based on Diffie-Hellman problem, there exists also encryption system, so-called El-Gamal, so they can break it. And as you know, El-Gamal, RSA is used everywhere, so quantum computers will break it. In 2019, October 23, we have got news from Google, and they claim that they have reached something called quantum supremacy. What is quantum supremacy? Today's computer use our Newton physics, and quantum computer will use already quantum physics. So they said that they have reached quantum supremacy, and they claim that they broke the task, very complicated task, in just 200 seconds. And they compared it to their competitor, IBM supercomputer, and said that IBM supercomputer would need 10,000 years to solve this problem. Of course, IBM didn't like this news a lot. They said that Google lies, and they don't need 10,000 years for it. They said that they need only 2.5 days to solve this problem. Guys, their computer is of the size of 2 basketball courts, and they need still 2.5 days. And the Google's computer made it only in 200 seconds. So, of course, quantum supremacy here exists. All good, but we have got the news from our Chinese colleagues, which have created, you go here, 2.1 computer, which is 1 million times faster than Google's quantum computer. So, it is already a big problem, and they are very close for creating already fully fledged quantum computer, much more close than Google, and they claim that their computer is 10 million faster than IBM's supercomputer. And scientists are seriously working on creating different RSA, so-called RSA alternatives. There exist 4 basic approaches. The first one is hash-based digital signature schemes. Their security, concretely, is based on the collision of hash functions they use. There is a code-based public encryption scheme. They are based on matrices. And one of the examples is Maksim's crypto system. I will talk about it. And lattice-based cryptography. We will talk a lot also about it. Its proof is based on worst-case hardness. So NIST accepted some schemes from it as a standard. And multivariate public key crypto system, which uses a set of quadratic polynomials. Okay, as we talked, code-based crypto system, yes, so-called Maksim's. There was a very successful attack on it. Dublin City University PhD candidate has broken it in 8,000 hours of CPU time. And what the scientists answered about it? Just increase the key size, they said. And also the system cannot be used when two messages are somehow related. So when it is known the relation between two messages, we cannot use this crypto system. One more very important stuff is efficiency. Even today, already, we have the problem with the classical cryptography. Post-quantum cryptography will be less efficient. So it will be very complicated to use it. Inefficient cryptography is okay for users, but for servers, which process million tasks per second, inefficient cryptography will be a big problem. And side channel attacks are also very important today. What is side channel attacks? It's when you are measuring the time, when you are measuring the power. These attacks existed on IS, on RSA, on a lot of crypto systems. And about Crystal Kyber, which today is the new standard, also this type of attack was used. I will talk more about it now. So let us quickly make the overview of hash-based digital signature schemes, which security is based on collision resistance of hash functions. There we have signature and verification keys. X are signature keys, Y are verification keys. So verification, here we have two n pairs of signature keys. Each key is of the length of n bits, and we have two n pair like this. And to get the verification key, we apply one-way function to signature key and get the verification key. In my practice, I use hash function for it. So how we sign the message? First of all, we hash it, like we talked. We know how to hash, and to sign the message, we look at the key pair. We look at the key pair. If we look also on the message, if the first bit of the message is 0, we take this signature, the corresponding signature key from the first pair, but the first one. So if the bit is 0, we take the first key, and if the bit is 1, we take the second key. So we took on the corresponding indexed key, so if it is the second bit of message, if it's 1, we take the second signature key from the second key pair. To verify the message, of course, we apply one-way function to it, and afterward check this equality. Guys, the scheme which I described was Lampert one-time signature scheme. It is a classical, basic approach, but the key size and the signature size and the size of the keys in the signature is very big. It's 50 times larger. The size of the keys is 50 times larger than in the case of RSA. So Winternit's one-time signature scheme was offered, which reduces the number of the keys, the size of the keys, and the number of the size of the signature. One-time signatures cannot be used in practice. Both Lampert and Winternit's, they are one-time signatures. They cannot be used in practice. So for this, Verkle scheme is being used, which uses the Verkle tree. Here, we have the signature keys, we hash them, get the verification keys, we hash the verification keys, and get the first nodes. Afterwards, by concatenating these two nodes and hashing it, we get this one. By concatenating these two and hashing, we get this one. Afterward, by concatenating these two and hashing, we get this one. And like this, we go to the public key, to the root of the tree. So for the signature, and one more thing, if we begin from here, this one is a brother node of this. When we get here, this one is a brother node of this, and so on. So for the signature, we still use one-time signature. We are using public key, and with this public key, we can sign several messages. For example, this tree size is 3. We can size 2 cubed 8 messages with this public key. We take the index where from we began. We take the corresponding verification keys and all the brother nodes. Okay, Verkle tree has very big digital signatures, as you can see, and is very high. To reduce the height, we use Kyrie Verkle trees. As you can see, here we divide each node not into 2 parts, but in 3, in 4, in 5. So the division factor is higher. Of course, the height of the tree is less, but the signature even grows. It is even bigger. Let's come to NIST. So NIST has accepted Crystal Kyber for encryption. It's lattice-based crypto scheme. They accepted Crystal Dilithium and Falcon for digital signatures. They are also lattice-based. And they accepted Sphinx, which is hash-based digital signature. They just need different approaches for it. As you can see, in 2022, in July, there was a paper that Crystal Kyber is broken. There is a very big debate. Is it really broken or not? So let us analyze if it is. First of all, we talked about side channel attacks. It's measuring power and measuring time. Here, the scientists used so-called vertical side channel leakage detection. And this technique involves analyzing the electrical signals when you are implementing some cryptographic operations. Against side channel attacks, guys, we use masking. So masking is dividing the information into different parts and into some random parts, and to get the information back, you need all the pieces. So, if you divide the information into pieces, it's first-order mask. If you divide it into 3 pieces, it's second-order mask, and so on. So, Crystal Kyber uses this masking, but not of the high order. So, on the GitHub, you can find the code. It uses mask, but not of the high order. So the authors who offered the attack, they used the ARM Cortex hardware, M4, and they used recursive learning attack, which involves machine learning. This attack is not new. It was used in many approaches. And how it works? If this is the first mask, we repeat it recursively and add the new piece to it. Afterwards, we use this one, repeat it, and you add one more piece of the next masking to it. So they also use cyclic rotations. What for? Because when you look at the message at the first bit, it leaks more information than last bit. So they use cyclic rotation. To replace the bits, and by means of this, they increase the leakage. So here is this hardware on which they implemented this attack. And they used 150,000 of power traces. And for them, they used decapsulation of different ciphertexts with the known shared key for the same key-EM key pair. Guys, it doesn't happen in practice. Always key-EM pair is different. So they just made the assumption that it's the same. In practice, it doesn't happen. So let us talk about this attack. The first problem is that key-EM pair must be changed always. And they made the assumption that it's the same. It's the first problem, which doesn't happen in reality. The second problem is that they took the low-level masking code and using C, they wrote their own code to the 5th mask and attacked their own code. So they attack their own implementation. It's the second problem. And the third problem is that they made it on the concrete hardware. only on this hardware it could work. On any other hardware, this attack wouldn't work. So guys, Crystal Keyboard is not broken. Somehow its implementation is a bit vulnerable. It must be taken into account, but it is not broken for today, so this standard is safe. And what is, guys, our goal? Our goal is to decrease the size of the tree and to decrease the size of the signature. For this, we use the new technology offered 2 years ago in MIT. Here, it uses, it looks like Kyrie Verkle tree. We can divide it into different parts, but it uses 3 algorithms. So, here, as you can see, we calculate vector commitment, and for every vector commitment, we calculate the same proof. And verification algorithm checks if this proof is of this vector belongs to this vector commitment or not. It's absolutely novel approach. It isn't found in literature. Nobody offered to make digital signature from it. Basically, post-quantum digital signatures. So, if you look at the efficiency, Verkle tree, it's very efficient to compute them, but proof size is very big. For Kyrie Verkle tree, the construction efficiency is also very good, but the proof size is bigger. For the Verkle tree, guys, construction is a bit more complicated, but proof size is very small. So in Verkle three cases, the digital signature is really small. As I told, we use 4 algorithms, one for parameter generation, another one for creating the proofs, the vector commitments, afterwards creating the proofs, and afterwards verification. In practice, 2 vector commitments are being used, CDH and RSA. Both of them can be broken by quantum computer, as we said. So in our research, we offer the new approach to create vector commitment from lattices. So we use the algorithm where I will just very shortly talk about it without any technical stuff. We just are generating some matrices, and we calculate the commitment using U matrix. We calculate the proofs using R and Rij and Ri, and afterwards we verify using other matrices which we generated. I will not go to mathematical details. And in our scheme, still, we are using one-time signature. And instead of Verkle tree, we involve Verkle tree. We have the implementation of it, only the basic one, nothing special. And we are continuing researching on it. We are creating new post-quantum schemes using Verkle tree. We have the corresponding financing for it. So, guys, that's it. If you have any questions, welcome. I try to be as short as possible and to give you a lot of information.
What about deploying AI on quantum computers to find RSA alternatives? It is an efficient way?
Using quantum computers, yes, to create the new crypto systems, it's already quantum key distribution. It's already being implemented using distribution of quantum keys. So my topic is post-quantum cryptography, and the professor which talked before me, he uses quantum cryptography. And quantum cryptography is already different. In quantum cryptography, quantum cryptographers claim that soon one-time pad will be alive. So by means of these quantum key distribution algorithms, they transfer the data, and they hope, I also hope, that one day this transfer will be really efficient, and one day one-time pad, which is perfectly secret, will be back.
Thank you.